All right, hello. You're hearing me talk for the first time in a long time. I think you missed my entire short hair pixie cut phase. My hair's still short, but whatever. You missed it, like it's your fault. I wasn't the one putting up anything. So today I'm doing an astrology related video. I know the content that I put up here is not cohesive, but I just don't want to make separate channels for everything, and I feel like this is just my hub to put non-professional, just whatever I want kind of content whenever I want. So that's kind of the name of the game. I'm never gonna like leave this channel or like come back. I'm just doing what I want basically. And today I'm doing an astrology related video. Many of you probably know this. I have an astrology channel with my best friend Nina, and I normally wouldn't put astrology content anywhere else but that channel because it doesn't make sense. The only reason why I'm putting this video up here is because it wouldn't make any sense for us to do this video together. It's about my personal experience more than anything. This isn't about, you know, learning about the different progressed moons, which I would love to do possibly a video or some kind of segment about with Nina sometime, and I can still do that with this video. This is about my personal experience with my progressed Scorpio moon. And if you don't know anything about astrology, this is not the video to watch or start out with. This is a much more like intermediate kind of situation because it deals with progressed charts. I also forgot to mention something, as I always do, because of this whole corona situation, financial situation, time situation, I have more time on my hands, so I'm now selling individual readings, not just through Party Trick Astrology. I'm selling my own Shana Krashian, Runaway Germ astrology readings. I'll have all the information about that down below, as well as my PayPal link and everything that you need to know. And also, if you just want a reading through Party Trick Astrology, we are still doing them. That is still great and well and lovely. So this might end once Corona is over. I'm not sure. We'll see. But yes. Okay. Really quickly, if you don't know what a progressed chart is, because if you know about astrology, you might not know what this is. It makes sense. I don't know like the stuff behind it or anything. You change as a person, right? We change, we grow, and it's slow progressions. It's not like super fast over the day. These are talking about, the fastest moving planet or luminary in a progressed chart is the moon, and it's 2.5 years. As you grow and change, it changes and new lessons come up, and you're still your natal chart, but progressed chart is just talking more about what is going on right now today with you. What are your current issues? Your birth chart is your lifetime issues. Your progressed chart is your more current situation. And the reason why the moon is the most important planet or luminary in the progressed chart, or most important, it's not, but I mean it's the one that people pay the most attention to. It's because it's the fastest changing and because it's the most personal. The moon changes every 2.5 years. The sun changes every 30 years, So the moon is really like the flavor of the week is what Nina says, and I'm like, it's the flavor of 2.5 years, but you get what I'm saying. Also, wearing a very appropriate shirt, just had to shout it out. If you didn't know, a natal Scorpio moon is considered in its fall, which means it's the least comfortable placement to have the moon. So it only makes sense that in a progressed chart, it is one of the hardest, or if not the hardest, moon progression to go through. And so before I went into the progressed moon, I looked up some videos and there's some information, and I guess I just wanted to put in my own thoughts. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit about my Libra progressed moon that I just came out of, because I definitely had not different experiences than most people, but I have different opinions about them than most people. When talking about a progressed chart, you really have to take into consideration your natal chart, your natal moon. So I have a natal Capricorn moon. It only makes sense that a natal Capricorn moon is going to be more comfortable having a progressed Scorpio moon than somebody with a natal Taurus moon or a natal Aquarius moon. The Libra moon period that I went through, spoiler alert, I found my Libra moon period a lot worse, a lot harder, even less of a happy time and a more stressful time, and one of my least favorite moon progressions I've ever gone through. And that's coming from me in the middle of my Scorpio progressed moon. I think I have exactly a year left of my Scorpio moon, so this might change in a year. I might be like, I take back everything I said because I'm doing it in the middle on purpose. So it makes sense that having a Libra progressed moon was a lot less fun for me because it squares Capricorn. When you're looking at your progressed moon, you also need to look, of course, in the house. So my Scorpio moon is in my 4th house, so these things are very harmonious because they're both water. They really amplify each other, and my Libra moon spent most of its time in my 3rd house and a little bit in my 4th house. And as you can imagine, the time that my Libra moon was in my 3rd house, I had a lot easier time than when it moved into my 4th house because, again, Libra Cancer square. I'm just wanting to get all this kind of like educational stuff out in the beginning, and then I'll move move into my personal experience and some advice or whatever, or what to expect, really. Another thing to take into consideration with a progressed moon is aspects. Just like in a natal chart, it's very easy to read a progressed chart if you understand how to read a natal chart and you understand the theory of the progressed chart. It's like kind of hand in hand. So aspects obviously change pretty frequently because your moon is moving pretty quickly. My Libra moon was squaring and opposing, all this stuff. I had like 5 or 6 squares at one point to like my entire basically rest of my chart. That's why I found my Libra moon a lot harsher of an energy and a lot more fumbly of an energy for me than my Scorpio moon, because currently only my sun is square my moon, and then I have moon sextile my Mercury, and I'm about to move into really nice aspects with my moon. And I came out of these really harsh squares to my Libra moon. So you can't just look at the sign and say, I have a progressed Scorpio moon, this is going to be the worst 2.5 years of my life, and then when I'm out of it, my Sagittarius moon is so great, it's going to be the best time. And that might not be true if your aspects are saying something different. That's something that I definitely didn't understand at all going into my Scorpio moon, because with a positively aspected Scorpio moon, I don't have one yet, but just in general, it's not fun, it's not enjoyable, but it's not giving you this inner conflict, it's giving you more of an outer conflict. And in a lot of ways that can sometimes be easier to deal with, especially with like I have natally a lot of negative aspects between my personal planets. So having inner peace is something that I've never experienced. So having the outer chaos is at least something new. And that's something else with the Scorpio moon I should also mention, is that I have intercepted Scorpio in my chart. With having a Capricorn moon natally, Scorpio and Capricorn talk well to each other. Also, Capricorn moon is in its fall and Scorpio is in its detriment. So I understand that nature very easily almost. I don't have a very healthy moon. So having an unhealthy moon isn't something new to me. You know, you just have to think about this stuff. Because I have a natal Capricorn moon. This is the first time I've ever gotten to my Scorpio moon. I've never had a progressed Scorpio moon. I've never had any Scorpio energy in my chart, period. I have like my Chiron in there, and that's about it. I haven't had anything progress into there. So this energy is completely new to me, and that's something else to keep in mind. Now, I finally just want to talk more about my experience having a progressed Scorpio moon in my 4th house. The biggest thing that started it all right before my moon just went into Scorpio is at like 29 degrees Libra, is I found out that my mom has ovarian cancer. And so that was kind of what started my Scorpio moon in the 4th house. Moon is mother, Scorpio is death, and just a lot of, you know, negative, harsh things. 4th house is the house of home. I was home in Vegas with my mom in the hospital, finding out she has a very rare and hard to treat with a low mortality rate type of ovarian cancer. I'm a Cancer rising, so obviously my mom is about the most important person to me in my life. So this was kind of like the hardest I could be hit and my most vulnerable area. So just because you have a Scorpio moon doesn't mean that something's going to happen to your mom. What I think it is whatever that thing is that you fear the most, the thing that you know you can't deal with, is what might happen. And I've always known that my mom not being here, not being healthy, not being in a well state is like the thing that will break me. And so that's what the Scorpio progressed moon is going to do. It's going to find that thing that will break you, and it will make you deal with it and go through it. My Chiron is now at 1 degree Scorpio, my 4th house. So right when my moon went into Scorpio was conjunct my Chiron. That was also why there was some wound around my mother. Something happened to my mom, and that's the main issue of my life. My life was going really well, and I was surprised because of how happy I was. Before I found out about the potential that my mom had cancer, I literally a few seconds before I got the phone call, I was thinking about how happy and content I was, and how that I've almost never felt that way, and how things are going well. Literally not 5 seconds to 10 seconds after that was when my mom called me and told me that I'm gonna have to come in and she's might have cancer and we're gonna have to do this whole big surgery and blah 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 blah. I don't know what the point of that was, but that's just the kind of shit that's gonna happen. And because it's conjunct Chiron, it's like everything else might be going okay, but there's just that one big thing. And that's with Scorpio, it a lot of times is like one huge thing or two huge things that are just being very obstructive or destructive, I guess. For me, something else happened is somebody with strong Scorpio energy came into my life. They have a Scorpio rising with Pluto in the first house in Scorpio, and then they also have a Taurus moon, which is the other side of my interception. And so somebody literally came into my life to teach me these Scorpionic traits a little bit, to show them to me, to have it around me. And for the first time, I'm experiencing this kind of energy really close. Now, my dad is a Scorpio moon, but that's the difference between Scorpio rising and moon. It's Scorpio rising, it's right there. I see it. Scorpio moon, I haven't intercepted Scorpio. It was acted as though it wasn't there. But with him, it's not being able to be ignored because it's on his face. So that's something else that could happen, is somebody with that energy, especially if you have an interception and then the moon is coming into that intercepted sign, somebody with that energy might come into your life to almost show you that energy and force it into your life. Because if he wasn't in my life, I probably still wouldn't be able to understand or access that energy. With an interception, and especially having a 7th house stellium, you kind of need somebody else to bring it to you. Also, something interesting is, because talking about my dad's Scorpio moon, is that because I now understand the Scorpio energy, I now see my father's Scorpio moon, and that energy has come out and really shown itself to me, and I kind of understand how it played out to me in my life in ways that I never would have been able to understand before. And I don't want to go too into it, because my dad is a lovely, lovely person, and I love him to absolute bits, but it was just very eye-opening in a lot of ways. This is something that's very personal to me, and also has to do with the fact that, again, this is the first time that I'm reaching the Scorpio moon progressed placement. And this is something that can also come up with you if you have a progressed Scorpio moon and you have a natal moon that's just a little bit after Scorpio, like if you have a Sagittarius moon or a Capricorn moon or an Aquarius moon, because Scorpio really represents puberty. It represents the puberty stage in life. And so I've always felt like I almost didn't go through that puberty stage, like as far as the like mental and emotional side of it. Obviously, I went through the physical side of it. I really feel like I didn't have that, you know, rebellious, girl, boy, crazy, teenage part of me. And having the Scorpio moon later in my life, I feel like now is almost the time that I almost feel like I'm going through that mental and emotional side of puberty in an odd way. There's a lot of growing up, but not in the ways of, because I know Capricorn growing up, I've been an adult since I was a child, you know, but it's that really humanistic, emotional side of growing up. There's also something big with getting comfortable with yourself during the Scorpio moon, and it really forces you to be kind of one with your body, understand your body, be more comfortable in it. And that's something that you really shouldn't push against. If you have a progressed Scorpio moon, it's really the time to get comfortable with the more intimate facets of yourself and other people. Also, emotions will be something that is on the forefront of my life now, where it never used to be. I grew up in a family where emotions pretty much existed at the least amount that they possibly could. And having a progressed Scorpio moon in the 4th house, living with somebody that has a Scorpio rising, is just an emotional person, is a depressed person. Emotions are in my day-to-day life. Scorpio moon in the 4th house, at home, emotions are there. And because it's intercepted in me, it isn't always my emotions. A lot of times it's my roommate or my other friends' emotions that I'm finding that are becoming more pertinent and affect my day-to-day a lot more than people's emotions used to. That used to play almost not a role in my life, which is probably why a lot of my relationships were so unsuccessful, and I just wasn't, I don't know, I just sucked, I guess. But now with the Scorpio moon, that's becoming so much more of a highlight. Also, I'm sure I don't have to say this, but there's the obvious quarantine connection right now. And when you have a 4th house moon, even when it was in Libra, 4th house progressed moon in natally, you just want to be home all the time. And that's not the kind of person that I normally am. I have Mars in the 4th house and Virgo in there, so it's a very anxious, stressful energy that I feel at home. But my progressed moon has really made me want to do nothing but that, and also has forced me kind of to do nothing but that. And more as time goes on with my moon sitting more in my 4th house, I'm resisting it less, and it's taking away even more. And obviously this is the ultimate taking away, as everybody's experiencing right now. But when my moon was in Libra and it was in the 4th house, I hated it. I did not want that at all. But now it's in Scorpio and it's happier because it's double water, and I'm much more pleasant about it. As I keep on mentioning, I have an intercepted Scorpio in my natal chart, and when my progressed moon was in Libra, I went through this crazy thing of feeling like I needed to get rid of all my clothes and not wanting everything, and I was like trying to understand my Scorpio Taurus interception and really take ownership of it and like prepare myself for my Scorpio moon. And so I just like got rid of so many of my clothes, so many things, and it was just really stupid of me. Not because I miss the items, but I got rid of and gave away some things that have major sentimental value to me, and I think that's because I didn't understand how Scorpio gets rid of things. It's not just getting rid of things, there's still a strategic manner behind it. There's a lot of stuff I don't remember, and it's fine that it's gone, but there's a few key pieces that I think about and I go, why would I get rid of something with such a scorpionic sentimental memory attached to it? And it's because at that time I didn't understand that like valuing something because the memories or because it gives you value, and not looking at it as I need to have this amount of things and I should only have this amount of things. I don't know, there's just always been a big issue with that kind of situation in my life, and since my Scorpio moon I've understood why you need to keep things around. I was just obsessed with throwing away everything or keeping too much of everything. I didn't understand the balance, and I'm slowly through my Scorpio moon understanding the balance of when I really should give something away or when it's really actually smart to keep it. You're going to have to understand commitment. When my progressed moon went into Libra, for the first time in my life I felt like I wanted a relationship. I was like, I want to be someone's girlfriend, and I've never felt this way, and I felt this way about this one person. It quickly fizzled out after a few months of me wanting to be in a relationship with this person, but that was what kind of sparked it for the first time ever in me. And then when I got into my Scorpio moon, I for the first time understood the want of having something more committed, but more than anything something more honest and true. And Scorpio is all about the melding of two people, so you get rid of that Libra artificiality and you merge and become comfortable and become safe and become trusting, and you start to understand the other person's patterns and they understand yours, and you really get to know somebody else when your progressed moon goes into Scorpio. If you deepen your self-knowledge and you become more comfortable with who you are, then you're more able to share that with somebody else or other people. And with Scorpio, it only is comfortable doing it with just one, so that's something that you're really gonna probably have to face when your Scorpio moon comes. And if you're somebody who's not comfortable with it like I am, I'm an only child. I lived alone for a lot of my Libra moon period. When I was a kid, my parents worked all the time, so I was home alone, so I am really good being alone, but I didn't understand how to be myself with somebody else, and that was a huge theme of my life. I had no idea how to do that, and my progressed Scorpio moon forced me to do that, and it's very uncomfortable. And that's the thing with a progressed Scorpio moon or just anything in Scorpio, that transformation is very uncomfortable. And I found, at least, and this might just be because of my chart, because of the type of person I am, but I had to really force myself, and I was the person with the reins. Somebody else might be there or help you or this or that, but if you don't take the initiative, you're never going to get all the benefits out of a Scorpio moon that you can. And I'm sure you're noticing that this just in general has a much more positive light than most progressed Scorpio moon videos or Scorpio moon videos, and that's because I feel like during this time I've realized all the magnificent potential. I guess because I've been lacking in it my whole life, I see so many more positives and what you can really get out of your progressed Scorpio moon if you're willing to really work for it, work at it, and go through it all. And it can be one of the most intense transformative times, which is what it's supposed to be. Again, in order to transform, you have to do the work, and that's something that I think the astrology kind of forgets about, especially with Scorpio, is like all these transformations, the world is going to do all this stuff, but sometimes the world just, you know, might give you the basic steps, but you have to take it and put it into your own initiative. So if you're having your progressed Scorpio moon and you're just waiting for other people or other things or the world to do it, you're not going to get all the benefits out of it. You need to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and then some. Every single time you take yourself outside of your comfort zone, or you push yourself a little farther, or you do something else, at least for me, it's not because I'm a Capricorn, you barely get any time to breathe until the next obstacle is there, or the next challenge, or the next thing to deal with is there. I finally conquered a big, very Scorpionic issue of mine, and I was so proud of myself and almost like wanted to show it off or try it out kind of situation. And then another immediate problem came in my way that didn't let me enjoy that thing that I just gotten through. And that's something that I've really realized with Scorpio moon. There's really no rest. But if you're somebody who likes changing and comfortable with that, and you like progressing and becoming a new person, and you want to become a new person, this is an amazing moon sign in a lot of ways, an amazing progressed moon sign to go through. Also, with pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, you're going to cross a lot of your own lines, especially if you're like me. I have a lot of 6th house, I've got a lot of earth with Capricorn, and I have a lot of like lines and barriers and all this stuff. That stuff is going to be crossed. Like, you're going to do things you never thought you'd do, you're going to say things you never thought you'd say, your opinions are really going to change, you're going to look at things from a different light. And a lot of what that has to do with, I think, is Scorpionic's natural position as the villain. With the natural position of the villain and how we put, you know, Scorpio in compliance with demons and all that stuff, you understand that thought process more, you understand that perspective more, and the line of hero versus villain will really get blurred. The line versus good and bad will really get blurred, and you realize that things aren't as they seem. I might just be describing Scorpio energy in general, which I am, and it might be obvious to everybody out there, but again, I haven't intercepted Scorpio. This is all pretty new to me, okay? And this is my experience. Hopefully it helps somebody. With that comes a lot new perspectives and a lot different ways of looking at things, looking at life. It really tests your brain and your knowledge and your opinions. Also, you might have to keep your life private for A, B, or C reason, or just in general because you have Scorpio moon. There's probably a lot of more crazier stuff happening in your life, a lot more of intense things that aren't to be discussed on social media because of whatever social rules we put out there that we can't talk about this stuff. So you're going to go through a lot of stuff alone. You're going to go through a lot of weird stuff. You're going to go through a lot of taboo stuff. And because of that, your life is probably going to wind up being a lot more private than you're used to. And you're not going to be able to talk about as many things as you're used to. And you're probably going to see less people. Your circle is going to probably close. Stuff that's painted out as negative, but it can a lot of times be for the best, because it's at the end of the day, the Scorpio moon really just has your spiritual growth at the pinnacle of like what it's trying to do, you know? Obviously, sex and sexuality is a huge thing. You might rediscover your sexuality or discover it or come out of the closet, or have, you know, it could be sexual problems, STD, infertility, or you might just be comfortable with yourself sexually for the first time, or you explore yourself, or you do things you didn't think you'd do. You have different sort of sexual relations, and out of that can also come, you know, manipulation, greed, like a lot of heavy quietness going on, you know? The person that has a Scorpio rising came from a very religious background, came from a Christian background. And for the first time in my life, I'm having that introduced to me. I'm Jewish. I was raised Jewish. I was bat mitzvahed. I don't really know anything about the Christian faith or the Catholicness people that much. I never really cared. I always thought it was pretty silly, and I didn't realize how much it had an impact of the culture of America, just how it's in all of the media and in our movies, and it's just crazy to see that. My progressive moon is in my 4th house, but natally it falls into my intercepted 5th house, so I've been introduced to a lot of media and just 5th housey like movies, things that I don't usually watch, and my God, is everything so soaked in Christianity and Catholicism and all of that kind of religious bullshit, basically. And it's just crazy to see that and see how much that affects people. And I find that people with a more religious background have more Scorpio in them because they're exposed to fear and hatred and segregation at an earlier age, and also sexual repression. And so I think that really gears towards Scorpio. So those kinds of themes will come up. For the first time, I kind of feel like I'm understanding more of where people's prejudices are coming from, and I didn't understand it before I had any Scorpio in my chart because I was never exposed to the religion on that end. I was raised in Hebrew school, but we mostly speak Hebrew, so I didn't really know what we were saying or what we believed in, honestly, even though I took like 9 years of Hebrew school. And I didn't realize how much heavily it impacts the morals and the beliefs and people's thoughts towards things. And I'm understanding that and seeing that for the first time and feeling oppression in ways that I haven't before. Not saying like I'm an oppressed person because X, Y, and Z, but real like seeing the mass oppression of people, of people's personalities, of who we are, you know? And because once you see it, then you might feel it a little bit. So you might feel this oppression or this sort of taboo things, or, and also because you're probably experimenting more sexually and just exposing yourself to a lot of different things, you then might understand that more and internalize it a bit. Also, I've had a lot more paranormal experiences, especially recently since I've been in quarantine, which I think has to do with my Scorpio moon and just becoming more aware of energies and all that kind of stuff. More karmic people coming in and out. Even something as silly as like I've been wearing more red and black, which I've always worn, and especially I've always worn out, but now it's coming more in my life, which is a very scorpionic thing. And just in general, you might feel more depression, more hopelessness. Your emotions are going to be more sat in. You're not going to be able to control them as much, or you will be able to control them so much that you feel like you have to keep a hand on them and you can't let them explode. There's just a lot of intensity in life, but I think that it makes life. I've been really thankful for going through my progressed Scorpio moon, and as much as it's been really hard, mostly dealing with my mom. She got cancer, but then a year later she had another recurrence, so she's currently in her second round of chemo, and it's just been really destroying her. And that's been incredibly hard, especially since I'm not around her all the time. So there's kind of been this undertone of that at all times, and that's the Scorpio moon. It's going to have this undertone of depression at all times. And, you know, no matter what, when I'm happy, I'll think about it and I'll get depressed, which is a very Scorpionic thing, is you don't have that quiet happiness, don't have that everything is okay and everything is calm for a second. It's never like that anymore once your moon moves into Scorpio. Not that anything ever was calm, but there was emotional calm in my life. I've had a lot less stress and anxiety and things to do, but a lot more emotional stress, emotional anxiety, and that kind of stuff. But overall, as much as people scare you about this placement, as much as I was terrified about this placement, again, especially not having it in my chart, I felt like I was the least prepared, and I was. It can be really scary and daunting, but I just kind of wanted to make this to say it's a really truly amazing experience as well. It's a new energy that's been brought into my life that I'm really thankful for, and I feel like it's a big important part of life, and it's not something to be scared out of, but to really take seriously, in the sense of, this is my time to master this energy, this is my time to take in this energy. This energy has a lot of power, and it holds so much possibility and so much ability for transformation and growth, and that you shouldn't take that for granted or even, you know, curse at that, if that makes sense. And with Scorpio, it'll only give you as much as you need, and what that means is sometimes what you need is a lot to change. So if you're being stubborn and, you know, you have a few traits that you don't want to change in yourself, or you're scared to change in yourself, especially having to do with sexuality or emotions or death or anything like that, be ready and try to be as least pushing back against it as possible, because the more you push back and the more you resist Scorpio, the more it'll throw at you, and you don't want Scorpio to give you its all, because it's intense and it's pretty horrible. So you really almost need to, like Capricorn, these sextile for a reason, you really need to, and this might just be because this is my outlook on life because of all my Capricorn, I feel like this is how you should just take life in general, but really take it and work with it and work through it and work to get its best. My spirituality and my, I don't know what to call it, but like my energy has grown so much, and I've become so much more energetically aware and so much more confident in my astrological skills, and I'm improving on my tarot skills. Since my Scorpio moon, I've gotten into tarot, and I don't really know the cards very well, but I can very well intuitively draw cards, and I feel like that's a lot because of having to do with my current progressed Scorpio moon. So you can feel like a little teenager sometimes. You can feel like a bratty kid. I got into like punk music during my progressed Scorpio moon, because what else are you gonna do? Overall, I think it's been, I struggle to say one of my favorite positions, because my mom has cancer and I still don't know if she's gonna be okay, and she's probably, in the long run, there's really no way for her to be okay, because even if she's okay, she's still going through a bunch of chemo, and it's been a terrible experience on her mentally, physically, and emotionally. But in a lot of ways, this has been, I think, one of the most impactful and important periods of my life, and will continue to be for the next year. And also, my rising is about to go into Leo. I'm curious what having a progressed Cancer rising versus progressed Leo rising with the Scorpio moon will do, and I want to do another one of these videos after my Scorpio moon changes to Sagittarius, and we'll see if I do that. If you have any requests on anything you want me to film, leave them down below. It could be literally anything about any topic. This is a free channel, baby. I am doing individual astrology readings now, as well as party trick astrology readings. All my links and stuff will be down below. So yeah, thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. I really hope this helped. If you have a progressed Scorpio moon, or have gone through it recently, or just remember it at all, please leave your thoughts and your experiences down below. I'd love to know. Okay, bye. Hello, sorry, I'm not done. I just wanted to add something. If you're done with the video, you're done with the video, you can click off. This is just a little bit personal, a little bit something that I wanted to add. Basically, the day after that I filmed this video, I was finished with the first round of editing it, and then I felt this weird shift of energy, like, oh, I've gone through just half of it. You know what I mean? Like, when I filmed the Scorpio moon video, I felt the want to film it because it was at its halfway point, and now it's starting almost like it's a new cycle, if that makes sense. And this is really emphasizing the fact that I said, you don't get a break. You do not get a break with the Scorpio moon. You know, a few hours I thought that, I got a call from my mom, and without going too much, because it's personal, but also, like, I think it's important to share personal stuff as well, but basically I got a call literally a few hours max after that, and you know, my mom has a recurrence and it's moved and it's a lot more extreme, and this is a situation where it doesn't look so good. I think I'm gonna go home again, and that kind of brings its own stuff, and basically I've just got to strap in for a whole other phase, I guess. The Scorpio moon is hard, and as much as I do think it's such a great position still, it's not going to leave you without doing something dramatic, without putting a lot of hardship and sorrow in your life, and you're probably going to make the toughest decisions that you have to during the Scorpio moon, and you're going to be in some of the lowest places during it. It's just not fun, but it can still be a beautiful thing. With my intercepted Scorpio, as I keep mentioning, I'm not somebody that's well equipped to know how to deal with this stuff. I definitely am much better at ignoring it and pretending it's not happening. And throughout this time with my mom, I haven't wanted to do that. I've wanted to really come face to face with the fact of what's happening. And it's just, I don't know how emotions work still, you know? And I think that's something that the Scorpio moon really is here to teach me in the hardest way it possibly can, which is through my mom, I guess. I don't know. I'm just rambling. Good luck if you're about to go into this and that's why you're watching this video. And yeah. Okay. Bye again.